towards the computer.
Coolio. What time is it? Oh yeah, we got like a minute.
So that we can each be talking. I'll mute. We just have to be more cognizant in the meeting. Oh, but I have Autumn and Andra here too. Okay, cool. Everyone's.
Hi. Does this look, so I'm gonna end up moving and coming into this space to move.
That looks great.
Looks okay on your end?
Yeah.
You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have Code Gray. What's going on, Code Gray? We have Captain Darkness.
Hello, hello.
What's up?
Hello.
How are you?
Spiffy outfit.
Good.
Hold on. Okay, I'm still
Yes, nice vest there.
It's a little tight. It's a little tight.
Well, you're gonna feel real good taking it off when we do a physical warm up.
I hope so, because that's the only vest I have another one that's a little bit slimmer.
I used to have to wear a vest for work with a tie and a long sleeve shirt
Oh.
for 3 years. That was uncomfortable.
Does somebody have a TV on, or is it like a neighbor? I'm hearing
Yeah, background.
a background noise, and it's okay if you can't turn. Oh, thank you, Peter. Captain Darkness, wonderful. Okay, great guys. So we're gonna start on time. Today we have this amazing intro to acting workshop for heroes and villains that of course our wonderful cast member Avél Juliette, who also plays Elixir in the JFH Justice for Hire cinematic universe, is here and to share her expertise as an actress with 10 plus years experience and tools to help us embody our characters that much more and channel aspects of our character that we may need to access for ourselves. So there's a bunch of stuff internally inside me that I know I want to be that much more able, readily available to actually share with people. So I'm super interested in how she's and some of her tools and exercises. So without further ado, I want to pass it off to Avél. And thank you again for being here with us.
My pleasure. Thank you. So just a quick background. I moved to New York City in 2009 to pursue acting. It was kind of a very I had a light bulb moment and realized that I had a purpose to fulfill and a passion and a desire. And so I moved to New York and I started studying at the Ted Barty Acting Studio, the Meisner Technique. Sanford Meisner is one of the fathers of acting, of the group theater that started in New York forever and ever ago. And so his style of acting technique has to do with the basis of the repetition exercise, which we won't do. A real Meisner program is 2 years long. I did a year accelerated program. But what it does is it helps you to really get out of your head and put your attention onto your scene partner. So it's this back and forth thing that goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And it's all about being with the impulse and being, and just being where you are and being present. His foundation of work is with imaginary circumstances. So real authentic emotion in imaginary circumstances. There are other schools of thought in acting that use emotional recall, which I also did when I came back to Florida, the Eric Morris technique. And that has different exercises where you pull from real experiences in your life, whether it be a real trauma, perhaps you've lost somebody, and you use that emotion that you're pulling from the past experience into the present. There are teachers and actors and people who feel that can be very dangerous if you're not prepared to do that, to go somewhere very dark inside of you. I would say you'd have to be prepared to dig through those layers. acting has been a form of therapy for me over the last 10 years. I've had also other real therapy, I guess you could call it professional therapy, but acting has been very, very cathartic for me. And then the other technique, I did a scene study at Terry Schreiber's studio, where I think Edward Norton went there too. And that was really great to break down scenes. And then acting on the breath, Carol Fox Prescott's Acting on the Breath, which runs you through also it's energy work. It's being really present to the energy that a scene gives you. And, you know, we come into work with these preconceived ideas about how we're supposed to deliver and what emotions we're supposed to evoke, because that's what we've seen on television or whatever it is. And there's so much undercurrent of energy that's happening. And so like one of the things with the Carol Fox Prescott's work is that you always keep your mouth open and you never cross your arms. So being like letting the energy and the breath and the heartbeat really be living inside of you. So we would do a scene and I'd be like rolling around on the floor, bouncing, hitting walls, whatever it was, while I was giving my lines, so that you can just not think about what you're saying, just feel what's happening. And then the real energy comes, and then you can get into the choreography of the scene and how you're supposed to stage and all these things. So that was really interesting. A lot of movement. I'm a Pilates instructor, so I think it all kind of like molded together. So that being said, I would like to start with a physical warm-up to get us into our bodies. So one thing for sure, whenever I am in the Eric Morris, when I'm taking an Eric Morris method class, Gigi Pianelli, did I stall?
You're good.
Am I good? Oh, you guys froze. So okay, there we go. So Gilda Pianelli, if you need if you're in South Florida and you want an acting coach, she is fantastic. And she teaches the Eric Morris method technique. And we always start with a physical warm-up. So I would suggest you stand up, have some space where you can move your arms, move your legs in different directions, okay? We're gonna start with feet together, toes and heels together, and you're gonna make these like firecrackers with your hands, okay? So you're gonna pull them into a fist, and then you're gonna let the energy out. As you do that, I want you to do these little running in place. So you lift one heel, then the other, okay? And see if you can connect to your center, where you're really working from your abdominals, from your core. Fingers out, fingers in, fist fire, okay? Finding your balance, finding your place in space. Now take your arms up to the ceiling. Same thing, really reach the energy out. Fists and fire, good. Breathing, inhale, exhale, one more, inhale, and exhale. Bring your arms down, shake them out. You're gonna come into just a natural neutral stance, and one arm up and over, and the other. Kind of like you're doing a backstroke. Open up the shoulders. You can add a little bounce in there if you want. Knees are soft, hips are moving. And then reverse. Go the other way now, you're swimming forward. Big strokes. Good. Breathing, just natural. All right, and rest. Shoulder, roll forward, roll back. Big rolls. And reverse. Good. Okay, we're gonna do these like, it's almost like a castanet. So all that time that we spend on our phones, on the computers, cramping all of our joints. So you want to do thumbs fanning, then pinkies fanning, then thumbs fanning, then pinkies fanning. Do that a couple more times. I know you're like, how do my fingers do that? It takes practice. Good. All right. And hold it here. Legs a little bit wider. Nice wide stance. Toes naturally just turned a little bit out. You're going to do these twisting actions where you let the heavy weight of your arms wrap around and make contact with your body. Knees are soft. You're just like waking up the channels in the body right now, just hitting kind of the hips and the side back glute. And now bring it up a little bit. So now you're making contact with the side of your waist. Knees are soft. Take the head with you. Now, connection comes up to the shoulder and the upper back to like the shoulder blades. Good. And relax. Feet wide, hands on the hips, hip rolls. Take them forward, side, back. Open up the hips. This is just fun stuff you can do. Being in quarantine, if you work from home and you're sitting all the time, get up and do stuff like this and reverse. Feels good for the SI joints, sciatic, all that fun crampy stuff. Good, hold it here. Come to feet hip width apart. We're gonna do some squats. I'm gonna show you the side so you can see. Take your arms forward, hips back. You wanna make sure you're tracking knees over your toes. Weight is evenly distributed. And then come on up. Press the arms back, pull the stomach in. And sit the hips back, reach the arms forward. Belly button pulls in. Make sure you don't have a saggy belly. And arms back, chest open. One more. Hold it here. Keep your legs bent. Bring your hands to the floor. Drop your head. And then if you can, stretch your legs. Stretch the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. One more time. Bend the knees. Keep your hands down. Chest is on the thighs. Reaching your butt for the floor. And stretch your legs. Let your head drop. Nice and easy. Go ahead and bend one knee and then the other. And right and left. Bend your right knee. Keep your right hand on the floor and then reach your left arm for the ceiling. Left hand to the floor. Bend the left knee. Right hand to the ceiling. Feel a nice stretch down the IT band. Come to the floor, soft knees, head heavy. Start to roll your spine up, nice and slow. Head is totally last. All right. Little balance work. Take your right knee, bring it into your right shoulder. The standing leg can be slightly bent, just a little bit. And bring it down. If you can't get fully to the shin, grab the back of your thigh. Go where you can. Yeah. And lower. So working to get really grounded into the feet. Your knee and hip health in your life starts with your feet. So it's really good to find the connection of your feet to the ground. And switch. And observe. Observation is key. Patient observation in your body just to see what's happening. One more each leg. Your right. Pull your belly in and lower down. And left. Good. Okay, shake it out a little bit. One last thing here to get the blood flowing, to get all the juices going to the brain. Here we go. You're going to make fists. You're going to get your elbows into your side. Keep them there, okay? Little jogging in place. This was a Joe Pilates, one of his favorite exercises to warm up. Now, knees a little higher. Now, knees really high. Up, 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 up. Elbows in your side. Okay, now little kicks. Little tiny kicks. Now, knees. Little knees. Now, high knees. And one more set, little kicks. Elbows in your side. Little knees. And high knees. Okay, good. Inhale, lift your arms up. And exhale, bring them down by your side. And again, inhale, lift. And exhale, reach them one more time. Inhale up. And exhale. How do we feel? Feel pretty good? Hold on, I'm gonna put my fan on, I'm sweating.
Ruben, that seems to connect to Tai Chi a lot.
Yeah, I know, I have to take one of your Tai Chi classes.
Yeah, it's every Tuesday.
8 o'clock.
People, JFH event every Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST.
I love it. Yeah, connecting with the body on a deep and patient and observant level is going to connect you to your work. It's just the way you would warm up for a run, you're going to warm up for your acting too, you know? I introduced myself. I would love to know for each person who they are, where they are, and what they're, if they're an actor or they want to get into acting, or maybe just a quick little thing about how they got involved with JFH. Can we do that?
Yeah, when you question is this in character or out of character?
Out of character.
Out of
Thank
character.
you.
Okay.
Out of character, the person out of character that's visiting, yes.
Okay.
That's in attendance.
Since I'm unmuted right now, I'll start it off. Everyone knows me. I'm Jan, founder of JFH, and I'm also like an actual producer. This is the lifelong dream. What we're doing now, what we're building with the community. I've always wanted to be able to tell like cinematic stories that are kind of like game worlds, except had a real life experiences going on, and I very much see that what we're doing with JFH is kind of crossing cinema and gaming and storytelling, and at the core of all of it is really becoming a better version of you. So that's my story. That's why I'm here, and every time I see any of your faces, I get massively inspired. So thank you guys for.
Thank you, Jan. Number one fan guy here. Bringing people together. Okay, I'll just go down. Who's the mask behind the man? That's in my grid.
Hello, I'm Ben. They call me Code Gray in this cast. I'm in Virginia, and I've been a stage actor for a while, but I've never acted on film. And I got into JFH because, well, for one thing, I'm an RLSH, and also I'm just really into acting, and I've always wanted to create some like found footage type stuff and like really have it go somewhere. So I saw this as an opportunity, and I've met a lot of really cool people because of this. For that, I'm grateful.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Ben.
Nice to meet you too.
And Autumn, I know you from New York. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
That's good. Whoa.
Because Jan is sitting right here.
Yeah.
The mic. How did I get into JFH? Well, I met Jan on a train, and he wrote me into our episode, and then here we are. So,
cool.
I used to do a lot of plays and stuff as a kid, all growing up, because my mother designs costumes. So she was always kind of shoving me on the stage from a young age. But, I'm a journalist now, and, I cover TV and movies. And so I don't think I've ever really lost that interest. And JFH is really a perfect way to continue that. So I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, super cool. What a fun time. What a serendipitous and cool experience in New York when we did the episode 1. That was awesome.
Very summer day. Yes.
Yes. And I wasn't wearing socks in my shoes, and we did a lot of running, and I had nice blisters. That was fun. Pierre. Hello, sir.
There we go. Okay. I joined it. I had recently had acting training before. I used to be at the drama club in my old high school at around 11th grade, I believe. I did my first performance. I think it was called Sugar Mama's Halloween Part 2. I done the doctor part that's in the story, the con artist. Um, I'm interested into cosplay. I do various things. I'm an artist. I study game design. That's why I love doing things that are fantasy based, mostly anything dark fantasy related or sci-fi. You name it, you got it. I can do it, or anything around those type of topics. And I got into JFH. Well, because of my hobby of cosplaying and LARPing at the same time, because I still have some experience with LARPing as well. So I know how to do both that and creating my own characters, my own storylines, and artwork. So yeah, there you go.
Fantastic, multi-talented. Nice to meet you officially. Thank you. And Andra, am I saying that right? Andra?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can unmute. You can mute yourself and then
Unmute.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Technical every time. Hi, I'm Andra, in and out of character, developing the JFH app. I am a software engineer, originally from Romania. And when I met Jen through a common friend, and he told me about JFH and what he wants to do with it, I immediately pulled out my laptop and started coding the platform because this needs to happen. So in and out of character, I'm contributing and coding. Yes, this is my cape, courtesy and gift of my amazing teammate Autumn, girls who code write the future.
Yes.
So that's
cool.
me, in and out of character.
Oh, well, and you know, on so many shows, the person who's the coder, the person that's like the brains, they always have the best lines. They're always really funny. They always like are super sarcastic and smart. I love those characters. That's cool to kind of bring them both. I feel a little bit like that too. I don't have a real alter ego in this. I have a melange of me as me in with what I do, and that, which is a work in progress also. But nice to officially meet you.
I don't have my only experience with acting. I'm the director of Social Change Film Festival in New York. So it's from that perspective of seeing actors and films not being in one. So this is next level, and I'm very grateful. So, and I'm excited for your workshop because it's very helpful for professional development and also like personal and development. So thank you so much.
Oh, good. My pleasure. And Ruben.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
So I met JFH, I think, through a meetup group on meetup.com, or it was probably one of the a mutual friend. I don't really recall too well, but it was really for, just connecting with people and seeing if I can develop my character as a person. And the idea of building a character around a certain interest, which would kind of enhance the empowering qualities of myself. And so that was really interesting. And then on top of that, they had all these martial arts, and I'm a martial artist, and I really like the stuff. So I stuck around, and that's pretty much it. I'm really interested into the whole acting thing because, again, it can definitely develop a strong character. And what else? Man, that's pretty much it. Never done any acting, and that's it.
Well, there's a first for everything. I'll bring back to what I said. I recommend acting for anybody, whether you want to be an actor or not. Like, being comfortable being uncomfortable is a skill set, and you can use that in all aspects of your life. So like a lawyer getting up on the stage of the courtroom to deliver an opening, you know, the opening remarks or whatever it is. I mean, you know, stage fright is a real thing, and it's uncomfortable, and that energy like sits in your heart, pounds, and that it's a normal reaction. And then so how do you use that? How do you acknowledge it and then say, this isn't something that I have to quiet. This isn't something that needs to be calm. This isn't something that I need to take a drug to fix. Like that's one of the remarks in this book. It's Carol Fox Prescott's Breathing, Awareness, and Joy. And that's what the class I took in New York. That was really, really energetic, really connecting with the energy and the breath. It doesn't need to be quieted. I mean, when I went up on stage to perform the vagina monologues for the third time, I mean, I was like, thought I was going to throw up, and I almost blacked out. And it's hard. It's hard to be in that and use it, but it's there for you to use. And that I think can be beneficial in so many avenues and areas of your life, you know? So welcome. Nice to meet you, Ruben. I don't know, is J. Edward here? Maybe not. Okay, so I want to go into these little like kind of warming up and icebreaker things. So one of the things when I was working with a stage director in New York, we would do this lion face, raisin face. And maybe you've done things like this. It's pretty, you know, rudimentary, but you go like this, and then you go, and raisin face, and lion face, make the sound. Oh yeah, you guys are muted. Raisin face, lion face, and one more time, raisin face, lion face, I don't know, I use my hands with me when I do it. And to relax the mouth and the jaw, you need to be able to like get movement in here and flow, right? So for articulation, the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. This is actually an exercise I would use in my ESL classes. So for people who don't speak English as a first language, have a hard time with the pronunciation of certain letters in the way that it's connected in English language. So the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. And then you have to say it faster. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. Yeah, exactly. So that's a good warm up for your mouth, for your tongue, for your especially when you're on film, you have to be articulate. Now, you don't have to be loud, but it's good to be articulate. I mean, the mic is going to pick up a lot, but it's important to be able to, you know, be saying, as a stage actor, as Ben can attest to, you know, you have to be loud and articulate. And sometimes we don't have mics, you know. I've worked in things, right, Ben?
Yeah, black box plays, one act plays at my high school. You know, we never had mics for those.
Right. So you have to be able to really be heard and be heard well. So when I'm going to get onto a camera, I'll do the pa 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 ta 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 when they're doing the sound check. Pa 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 ta ta ta. Oh, did you lose me? Okay, my internet is so crazy sometimes. Rolling. If you're a singer and you're singing, that's a really good mouth and lip warm up. And when I sing, although I'm not like a singer, musical, I don't have musical theater training, but when I want to be able to warm up my voice, I'll sing Sound of Music's Do, Re, Mi, because it follows the scale, right? Do, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun, and do that over and over. And that gets you also into warming up the vocal cords, warming up the voice. So those are a bunch of good, like face, mouth, tongue, tongue twisters. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. Hide, what is it? Peter picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? I can't even say that one. You know, so things like that to kind of like get you into that. Okay, so I want to do a personal kind of like you know, sharing intimate icebreaker. So I like this thing, this exercise that I've done in productions with directors before. It's called Roses and Thorns. So we don't have a lot of people, so this works out good for time. But when I was in the Vagina Monologues in New York, there were 16 of us, 16 women. Okay, that's a lot of estrogen and energy all together doing a really powerful piece. I don't know how we left there. We all loved each other so much. And this might be TMI, but most of us got our period at the same time too. It was very cosmic. We all it was a really beautiful, moving thing. And when we got together to start our rehearsals, we did Roses and Thorns. So we talked about one thing that we're really grateful for, and then one thing that is a thorn in our side, something that maybe, and it can be of the day, it can be of the life, whatever it is. So just to share a little bit, you know, for yourself. So I can start for everybody. One of my rose, I'm an aunt for the first time. My sister just had a baby, and I'm over the moon, and I want to meet this little munchkin so bad. The thorn in my side is this pandemic, because we can't visit her in the hospital. I had to get a COVID test so that I could see her, even see the baby, waiting for the result. So that would be, that's a real thorn, multiple thorns in my side. Who would like to go next? Jan, you want to go?
A rose and a thorn.
Yes.
I'd say, is this in character or out of character? Out of character, right?
Right now we're working out of character. Most of this is really out of character. Yeah.
Okay. I say the rose is, I mean, pretty much every day that, you know, because we're working on this, the JFH and our startup Real World that's powering it. And my son is you know, is with me now. Like, I was back and forth between New York and LA. So now I'm in LA and he's with me half the week with us. So, you know, personally and professionally, like everything I care about is all kind of come together. So that's the rose. I think on the other side, you know, the thorn is really internally, you know, me refining myself right now to show up with all the, to show up for the great things that are in front of me and here in life. So like I'm very harsh on myself personally in terms of like looking at aspects that need to be changed and wanting to change them immediately. So I'm like, okay, well, hold on. Like I have to, you know, look before I look at everybody else, I have to look at myself, and then I can also be able to have that much more insight to everything else. So, and that comes even down to how we're building the JFH community, how the message goes out there, etc. So, so for me, it's a lot of internal work that is the thorn, but it's also, the thorn is a massive opportunity for change.
Awesome. As it usually is, right? And Ben.
I'm going to start with my thorn because it contextualizes my rose. So there's just a lot of drama going. Yeah, I'm in high school. You know, it happens. There's a lot of drama going on between me and my friend group. You know, someone I really trusted betrayed me and a bunch of my friends a few days ago, and they're originally going to be in like kind of the mini cast for my character arc, right, in this. And so I've had to rewrite major parts of this, of like the script, you know. That's just like one part of it, you know. It's just annoying. Like I got so angry that all I could do was laugh. And now but now, like, because I spent all that emotion, and this is my rose, I've been able to focus a lot more. I feel like I've just been able to, because, like, you know, I'm not a guy who's ever been in touch with his emotions that well. And ever since, like, you know, I had that flood, I feel like, you know, I just feel like I'm free. I've been able to, you know, I've been able to get a lot more work done that I've gotten done within the past 3 days than I have been able to do within like the past few weeks during like winter break, you know. But yeah, that's basically
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And Autumn.
Jen, yeah, are you? Okay. So let's see, my rose, you know, I'm really grateful to be a part of Real World, the kind of production studio that is, you know, makes Justice for Hire possible. And you know, we have a new equity crowdfunding campaign going, which took a lot of work, and I'm really excited about the future of that. I think my rose or my thorn there is, you know, I still have a full-time job as a journalist, and you know, it eats up that full-time job, that 9 to 5, you know, takes up a lot of time that I would love to be spending on something that's more of my passion. So working towards being able to do things I'm passionate about, you know, all the time. So
I hear that. And Pierre, are you still with us?
Yes, I am still here. How to get my
Oh.
lunch from the oven.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, and with a hat. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so as Pierre, give us your rose and your thorn.
I can give you the thorn. I can give you the rose. Now the thorn is. Let's see what's the thorn. Let me start with the rose. Rose has been helpful. It's been. I've been getting more help with my mental health more often than not. Since I found more resources, and it's better than where I was living. Before it was terrible, and I managed to have meaningful friendships than I did a long time ago. Whereas I have friends that stick around longer than the ones that disappear. The thorn, or the thorn. Oh, what's the thorn? Oh yes, loneliness. Is a pain. The thorn is that, and it's like a nagging imp to me, and I'm trying to keep it under the check and under control. We got it covered. Yeah, it's not been special with loneliness, and plus it's been like a constant babble. It's been a constant babble, and it's been difficult to get past it. And trying to stay calm and keep going is a challenge with loneliness. So yeah, that's one part of the thorn, but this depression was the second part, but I can manage that easily. It's not that crucial. It doesn't really take much thought to ease the pain. But yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think loneliness is probably, you're not alone in your loneliness. That's for sure. At least I can say, I share that with you. Andra.
Okay. So it's like a bouquet, like everything that we're doing with Real World and JFH is really well. Even this exercises reminded me when I was a kid, I went to speech therapy and we did similar exercises. So it's bringing out from inside of me things that I've been putting under the rug just because I wasn't fitting in. So Real World and JFH is really that place that it's like I bring all that's real, and I always, it's amazing. I still cannot put it in words. It means a lot. Like the team is amazing. Jen and Autumn, like it's a dream come true. The thorn, because I don't want to spend too much time speaking, is that I'm an immigrant and my visa is still in the works. I haven't heard. And at any moment, yesterday, a friend of mine texted me saying that her visa got rejected. So that's the thorn in everything that's, in that big bouquet of roses that real world and JFH is for me. That's the biggest thorn. So that's that.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That must cause a lot of stress. I can't imagine. I'm traveling to France in 2 weeks, and I've got a lot of nerves about the whole process. So this is not the same thing, and I don't mean to compare, but yeah, I can understand. Ruben.
So my roles, I really feel for everybody. Just wanted to put that out there, man. It's good to know that, I'm not the only one with the challenges. Obviously, we go about our day and we don't think about anybody else besides ourselves. We don't take a second to be like, man, but I know somebody out there is going through something like this or worse, but it's not good to hear that people are going through challenges, because we don't want nobody else to go through challenges. We want an easy, better life, but it's glad to know that I'm not alone, and anyways, but my thorn is that I'm having a hard time bringing the character that I want to bring on an everyday basis. Like who I am inside is not really projecting on the outside, just very empowered, strength, insightful person. And I'm not doing that day in and day out. I forgot what was the term for the roles, but I guess the best part of the roles on my side is just working a lot. So just whether it's 3 jobs and just getting that career, but just putting in a lot of work, so just working hard, and I feel grateful for that. Having the strength to do that, and pretty much just getting through it, but that's pretty much it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and there's so many unknowns and unstable things happening in the world and personally and on the micro and the macro level. So am I okay? Did you lose me?
You're there. Max Chen, one of our cast members, just joined right in the middle of Ruben's touching a moment, as absolutely in character for him.
So I just see Galaxy Note 10 plus 5G. So what's your AKA is Max? AKA Max. Max, we're doing an exercise called Roses and Thorns, where we share something that we're grateful for, and then something that is, maybe a hindering or something you're afraid of or something you hate. Honestly, I mean, it could be. So the rose and the thorn. Would you like to give us a rose and a thorn? You have to unmute yourself though, love.
There we go. I'm sorry. Could you just repeat that one more time?
Sure. So it's an icebreaker exercise when working with a group, where we do roses and thorns. We share something personal that we're grateful for, and then something very personal that's causing us pain or strife or frustration. So it's the balance, the yin and the yang, right?
Okay. I guess I'm grateful for friends and family, and what's caused me pain is my wallet. So.
The actual wallet, like, is it
no, just
hurting you, or
no, just the lack of money in my wallet. But
okay,
it's pretty, yeah. So
okay.
Hopefully that'll turn around. COVID has not been kind to my wallet, so
I understand.
rough situation.
Thank you for sharing. I'm sure you are not alone in that whatsoever.
Pretty sure that's not the case.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads me to, as we're talking a little bit open, Eric Morris has an exercise called personal inventory. Okay, now this is typically done where everybody is off mute. I know that Andra, Autumn, and Jan, you guys are all together, so I don't know how that's going to work with feedback and everything like that. I don't know if you can go into a separate room, separate area where you're away from each other, because it actually is impactful for us all to be doing this together. And so this is an exercise that I use, especially when I am getting ready to audition, because it helps me work through what I'm feeling, hence the prompt, which is I feel. Okay, so I want to read just a quick excerpt from, so this is Eric Morris's book called Irreverent Acting. I always forget what irreverent means. I looked it up again, and it means lack of respect, which is interesting, the lack of respect in terms of acting. And I think what he means by that is that as an actor and as people who enjoy acting, to understand how much work goes into being an actor, it is a very difficult job. I certainly think that it's part of the reason that I've resisted it a lot in my life, going the next step. It is a lot of work. It is exhausting. When I got done doing the production, stage production at the Boca Black Box, I was like, I need a break. Like, my brain was fried, you know, physically and emotionally, when you put that much of yourself into something. So I think maybe that's what he means by irreverent acting. So let me just pull the page. So there's an exercise that you can do that's pretty cool, called it's the personal, this one is emotional point of view in terms of objects in the room. So what you do, so it says, starting right now, ask yourself how you feel about everything in the room you're in. Do you have a feeling or response to all the objects? Possibly your response is, I don't know. That is a response. If you explore your environment like that frequently, you will come up with a lot of responses. And when you string those responses together in an unbroken chain, you are expressing your moment to moment impulses. You are being. So being authentic to a scene, to a character, to yourself, requires you to be very present in what's happening everywhere around you. And so that's one exercise that you can just try, just look around the room and look at the pictures or whatever it is, and just see what comes from it. Like, is there something that an emotion that evokes from you, and that also gets you out of here, Baby Yoda, and gets you around. Now the exercise that I want to do, the personal inventory, I feel. So what you're going to do is a stream of consciousness. You're going to say, I feel my mouth is dry. I feel like my hands are sweaty. I feel my head hurts a little bit. I feel this crick right in my neck right here. I feel like I could really use a massage. I feel like I need to eat something. I feel like I feel like I'm gonna maybe vomit. You know, and you just go through that, and you go and you don't stop. And when you can't think of something particular, you say, I don't know. And you just keep saying, I don't know, until something else comes up. And I want us all to do that together with the mics off, kind of whisper it to yourself, and we'll all be in it together. Okay? Sounds good?
May I ask a
Yes.
So the exercise is it essentially to go through the inventory of desires that we have as human beings, and just say them out loud. So like, I feel like this, I feel like that, because at any given moment, I feel like a whole bunch of things, but then there's one thing that is more like my center, that is a little bit more unwavering. And so I'm trying to figure out exactly what I should be.
So good question. I would say that the feeling, it's feeling. What are you feeling? So feeling on the terms of in your physical body, in your mental body. Okay, so start there, start with you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to I want. And then you're going to start talking about what you want. I want a Porsche. I want $1 million. I want to be the star of a feature film. I want to write a novel. I want this. I want that. And this is an opportunity for you to be really present with yourself about how you feel and about what you want, because we deny ourselves a lot of really feeling and acknowledging our feelings and acknowledging our desires, you know, as if maybe there's somebody telling us that we can't have those things. So pretend there's no limits. There's no boundaries. So start with how you feel very personally, how you feel in your physical and your mental body. Okay. All right. Go for it.
We're doing this on mute.
No, we're doing this all together unmuted. And just whisper it to yourself. It's for yourself.
Oh, okay.
Go for it. Everybody start. I feel a little bit like I need some water. Everybody, same time. We're doing it together. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, all together.
I need to get laid.
I feel a little bit like no, I feel a little bit jittery. I feel like
I'm happy with my PS4.
My hands are.
no, I'm not stinky, but I feel like I feel like
Not in.
Feel hungry.
Feel like
I'm stretching.
My hands are sweaty.
I
I feel like my room is too hot.
feel a little bit like I'm losing.
Okay.
I would like more than $1 million.
I don't know how. Not out.
feel like, yeah.
Comfortable in this chair. I feel like I want
One thing.
I would like that Tesla truck.
All right, now switch to I want.
Oh,
I want. Okay.
I was already on that.
Do we understand what we're doing, or are we confused? It's okay to be confused.
Oh, I thought it was our wants and how we felt.
First feelings. First was the
Oh,
feelings.
first
It's
the
really
feelings.
getting in touch with how you feel physically,
I
right?
was kind of getting back and forth between the two.
Okay. And the reason why you do this with everybody off mute is because you probably are a little distracted by what other people are saying, right? Or maybe you're listening, maybe you're not. Maybe you're really into what you're doing, what you're experiencing. So it's good practice too to stay in you and not put on the judge hat that's like, did he just say what I think he just said, or whatever it is, or you could say, I feel like I'm judging. I feel like I'm judging people right now. I feel like I'm judging what everybody is saying. That's also happening, right? Okay. So let's try now. I want. Go to I want. Remember, there's no boundaries. Okay. I want
I want to get laid.
I
want to get a Tesla truck.
to America.
I want
to speak.
I want a car.
I want to be able to eat well.
On this pandemic to end by the time I get to
I
college.
want to be able to stay focused.
Do this work when I get into college. I want to be able to have this and my music. I don't want
with the wife on the side.
To study more.
I want to
I want to finish
do
the
it. So I want to be able to stick up for the people.
Feel
I want to be able to trust more people.
I want to
I want to protect everyone. I want to be able to think that I can
I want to
That's it. I ran out of wants.
my passion.
That's all right. I have plenty for you.
Go with I don't know. Just say I don't know, I don't know, I don't know until something else comes up. Believe me, there's something there, So
I want
I want some edibles.
I want that. Okay. So does this
Yo, man.
how do you feel about the the exercise
Edible?
itself,
Oh.
does it, not about edibles.
I feel
How do you
overwhelmed
feel
that I
about,
want and feel so many things. Wow.
look at that.
I feel a
Look at
sense
that.
of essentialism.
Can you say that one more time, Pierre?
I feel a sense of existentialism right now.
Mm. Deep. Deep. Good. So that's something that you can do at any point. I think that's a great exercise. Eric Morris talks about that. That's like, do it all the time. And definitely gets you into connecting with your body when you're getting, for me, when I'm getting ready to do an audition, or if I'm feeling a lot of like, and I just, okay, I feel, I want. I've done it a step further where you say, I hate, and that also like lets you, it's like a release. I hate this person. I hate this, which is difficult for me because I don't like to hate anything. I don't like to hold that. But the truth is that we're layered. People are layered, you know.
I have tons of people I hate.
Okay, so that might be a really good exercise for you to like let a lot of shit out, you know. And also to give yourself an opportunity to be really honest with yourself about stuff, because for example, say you get an opportunity to be in I like to use, let's say, 12 Years a Slave. Okay, I had an exercise in my acting class where we had to yell racial, bigoted, hateful slurs. Okay, it made everybody very uncomfortable. Somebody actually left the class. Okay, because nobody wants to. Well, maybe some people do, but a lot of us didn't want to go there, and we didn't want to feel that, and we didn't want to express that, and we didn't want to think that we could be somebody that could say those things. But here's the truth. If you are going to get cast as a slave owner in 12 Years a Slave, like Michael Fassbender, and you've got to use the N-word, how are you going to do it? How are you going to find the hate inside of you to do that? So you have to be able to literally... I am Avél. I am the bigot, racist slave owner. And you got to be able to step in, and you got to be able to step out, you know, and that's what makes a lot of these actors so incredible, is their ability to step in and step out. Jan and I discussed this, you know, and I think it's a good segue that the reason why emotional recall is challenging for some people is that it's how do you step out of that? You know, how do you safely step out of a place where you've brought yourself to where you've used the emotional recall of hate, someone that you really hate, someone who's traumatized you, you know, that you see their face and it makes you want to just rip something apart. How do you get there? And then how do you come out of that safely? Okay. And so that's why people like Sanford Meisner said, imaginary circumstance is more powerful. How do you create authentic emotion by just using your imagination, and how powerful that can be? So one exercise that I know that actually also from the Eric Morris technique is to imagine that you're laying on your deathbed and you've got all of the people you love the most standing around your deathbed, and they're saying goodbye to you, and see what kind of emotion that brings up for you. We won't do that now, but that is something that I've used to find real deep sadness. That is not a real trauma. It's an imaginary trauma. So there's a lot that are, you know, some of the most wonderful stories. I saw a TED talk once. I forgot her name, but some of the, you know, so many stories, novels, books, all these things have come out of fear. It's people's fears. Our fears create the most incredible stories, right? And that's an imaginary, a lot of that's an imaginary circumstance. It could be a fear that's based in something that really happened, or it's a fear based on something that could happen. And that's when, you know, the imagination is so powerful, and also is why you have the power inside of you to heal, to hurt yourself. And why mind over matter is, you know, a powerful tool to keep in mind. So
Avél, may I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, because I know we're almost up on the hour.
Yeah.
And this is stemming from my for what we're doing with JFH, for what we're doing with real world, the whole concept of making movies with the world and the patterns, the long form and short form pattern recognition that has been a prerequisite to actually start this process that we are all a part of right now in terms of, like, building a cinematic universe together. I personally have to look at story, and I have to look at not just the business side of how the entertainment industry works, but also how the entertainment industry is leveraging the storytelling process. The stories have been around since the beginning of time. So when we're looking at something like the hero with 1,000 faces, the model for a hero's journey, and we're talking about every person on here being in their own hero's journey, and we're comparing this journey, which is across the world, these journeys are very similar. Even though there are different, we experience different, our own unique version of it. The actual patterns, the template for the hero's journey is very, very similar across the world. So, when we're talking about acting, and I'll just say that one of the patterns I've recognized in cinema and film, especially in the last couple of weeks, when I because of all that we're doing, I had to take a day. I only could take like a day off in December, like one, and I wanted to watch a movie, and the amount of negativity, of downward of films that I are kind of just, I'm looking for something to lift me up because I'm working so intensely. I'm burning, using a fire, kind of burning out the oil internally. I want to feel energized. So I think it's interesting when you talk about channeling, the ability to safely channel an intense emotion like hate, and channel that and then safely come out of it. But I'm interested in your perspective of how to channel something, and I think to simply call it love is to not respect the capacity, the dynamism that love does hold within it, because there's a spectrum of love. But let's call it like upward, like energizing feelings and thoughts. The majority of these great novels that I feel like the great writings that you might be referring to are coming out of fear. And what I noticed, that if you can kind of compare the base level of where they go to, the darkness, the depth at which these stories go to, in my experience of them, and then the middle ground, or the status quo as it would be referred to as, and from a storytelling perspective, and then the inspiration at the end of that story, and act 3 toward the end of those stories, the height of the inspiration that story might be attempting to convey, in my experience, does not compare to the depths of darkness. The depth of darkness is normally greater than the light of hope in most of these stories. Again, I'm speaking from my analysis. So and this is not just a question for you, but it's actually a question for the whole JFH community, and even folks that are going to be watching this after on YouTube. How do we tell stories, tell ourselves stories, and give ourselves the tools to bring ourselves to a higher level of inspiration and of light, given the fact that the depth of the darkness, the challenges is so intense. So I'm just wondering, from your perspective, about how, and this is a dense question, I understand.
Whoa.
So I'm asking you, how do we save the world?
Oh shit, man. I've been trying to figure this out since I was like old enough to think about things like this. Self-healing, self-love and self-work. One of the things that came to mind was something from my yoga training, was it's a yama. So I don't want to get totally into it, but there's different schools of thought in yoga. There's different paths of yoga, and one of the paths of yoga is the royal path, Raya Yoga, and in it there are steps to enlightenment. And on the first step, you learn about the yamas and niyamas. And one of the yamas is ahimsa, and ahimsa means nonviolence. If I can dedicate my entirety of my day every day to practicing nonviolence towards myself and towards other people, that alone, I think, has the power to accelerate out of that depthy darkness, because it can't all be, you know, sprinkles and rainbows and unicorn poop all the time. Like there's got to be both, right? Because that would be boring. Just like this is over here is also boring. Like there's a balance, you know. And it's what keeps, you know, people are multi-layered, and it's part of what makes us interesting. It's the highs and the lows, but just to try to focus on nonviolence, which is like something I forget to do all the time. And then I have to remind myself, like, okay, am I acting with ahimsa in this moment? And that's one place to start and unpack. I don't know, like you said, that's a big question, but you know, as cheesy as it sounds, is, you know, like the Beatles said, all you need is love.
Oh,
Da, da, da,
I
da,
love
da.
that answer. I think you know, the term violence to me is a very important one, because I think there's I heard this wonderful quote, or should I say, I was watching a documentary on MMA, and a MMA coach that became a pastor or a preacher said this amazing quote on violence, and he said that we have a misunderstanding, because he coaches MMA at his church or in his community, and he uses it as a path to you know, for the principles of his religion. And I love that, because you know, I train kung fu at the Shaolin Temple. I was, you know, kicked out, to whole the story. But what I'm getting at is that the whole concept of violence as or the root word violence of the Latin word meaning to violate someone's rights, and that was his terminology. And when you look at MMA as a sport, it is, if you look at it through that lens, it is not violent, because you have two people agreeing to compete against each other, and therefore it is not violence. That no one is violating each other's rights. And so when you really look at, I've contemplated that very deeply for years, and I've said to myself, well, that's interesting, because if you see someone else violating someone else's rights, are physically, mentally, spiritually, etc., and you don't do something, then you are essentially allowing violence to continue.
Right.
Versus the concept of how you know, how we train in martial arts, etc., and how that type of work is not promoting violence in any way. We're actually promoting self-control, and
Right.
to be able to have self-control can allow you to help others on the path toward their own self-control, including your awareness of when there is actual violence. So I think that's a really important thing to understand, especially when people are coming to the JFH universe and saying, oh, hey, you know, are we going to shoot action scenes? We're going to do all this other stuff. Well, it's like, well, hold on for a second. Let's really think about what action is, and what heroes are, and what violence is, because, you know, we're never asking anybody to do anything violent or shoot violence at all. Like what we're looking to do is to find the inner hero in ourselves. And this kind of bringing this back to Avél, your what you were stating in terms of, like, let's say the 12 years a slave session, and accessing hate. There are patterns. The fact that there are structures in which, for us to understand the depth of darkness, but not necessarily as highly promoted structures to understand the heights of the light. That's something that I think that we as a community need to identify, because those structures are there. You just mentioned one, like I was just looking at the Raja Yoga, the yoga path in the autobiography of a yogi. That was like a week and a half ago. And so the fact that you're mentioning that, and that texts and other teachings, you know, all, whether it's martial arts, etc., actually have that path within them, I think it's going to be really important for us, not just as heroes and as storytellers, but as a community, to continue to use the templates of the same template that you just gave for channeling the hatred is actually the same template for channeling the love. And
Absolutely.
all we do is turn the dial toward the love rather than toward the hate. So it's like, I'm interested in working with you, Avél, as we hopefully continue these sessions every once in a while, but also with the rest of the community on getting there.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I know we ran out of time, and I thought I wasn't going to have enough time. No, I thought that I was going to have too much time and not enough content. And it turned out that, anyways, first time you live and you learn. I know that I had asked people to bring a monologue prepared. I don't know that anybody actually did that. And that's something that maybe we can work towards if anybody wants to, later on. But there's a lot. I think there's a lot of the interweaving of the philosophies with the martial arts, with yoga, with Pilates, with it's a all encompassing holistic journey we're going on that is it's from the mental to the physical to the, Pierre, the existential. I mean, it's a journey. We're all on a journey together. And so the more we explore and the more we talk and the more we share and the more we play and figure out, all these levels. Kurt Vonnegut had a great quote. I'm not going to do it service, but about acting that's, and I think it goes for other things too. You don't get into acting because you don't do it because you want to do it as a profession to make money. Like, everybody should be doing acting and creating because it's good for your soul. It's not because you want to be a famous movie star. It's because we need this for our soul, because when we connect to our soul, this self, there's the little self, that's the ego. And then there's the big self, that's the soul. The more we connect here, that's how we keep going up to that light that you're talking about, Jan. That's the light up here, right? And so we have to connect deeper to that. So, and it's a constant work for me every day. So
thank you so much.
I guess we ran out of time. Yeah, it's over. I'm sorry about that, but I don't know if anyone had any questions or comments or anything.
I just had one more question for the community. First of all, I want to say thank you to Avél for this amazing
my pleasure.
This is wonderful, and like I said, I'd love to talk to you about doing more of these over time. And I'm interested for I think we're consistently providing some amazing value when it comes to the JFH community, and I'm wondering from each one of you what your thoughts are on how we can better articulate that value to everybody to spread the word. This year we have to 100%, I mean, more than 100, 10,000% grow the JFH community. So I want to make sure that we are putting out the messages that are resonant with people so they get it. And that's something that, as I said, I'm being harsh on myself right now. Within the last 2 days, I'm personally transforming how I communicate that message myself, like very personally. So I'm just wondering if there's any tips, pointers, or ideas from anybody in the community right now that you think would just be that much more electrifying for people. Be like, oh my God, this is here. I can do an acting workshop with Avél. That's awesome. Code Gray.
Does anyone have anything to say?
I think Code Gray had something to say. I saw him.
Yeah. I mean, personally, the way I got people involved with the arc that I'm filming, and I feel like we could definitely use this on a larger scale, is so a lot of people that I know, they're survivors like me. They've been through just as much, if not more, than what I've been through. So what I do with like this script writing is I provide them with cathartic experiences through the acting that, of course, they are comfortable with, but I feel like that has drawn people in to want to participate in the arc that, we're like to my individual arcs. So I feel like if more people use that kind of thing, if they find people that need a cathartic experience and are interested in acting and who are comfortable with that, if you can kind of meld your script around a little bit to just make it more appealing to those around you, you'll have more people willing to join you.
Thank you.
I just got one thing to say about just the dynamic between villains and heroes. So I think at least most of the bad people I see, and I guess who you call a villain, they lack the understanding of consequences. And so the hero gives them that understanding of consequence, therefore making them a better person. Maybe by default, maybe because they're worried about getting their ass whooped again. So they'll think twice before doing something bad. Something like that. So it's understanding, it's not about no violence, it's about understanding violence and the consequences that can fall you and other people. And sometimes some people need that to understand that consequence of violence needs to happen to them. It's a necessary part of life. And without that violence, they'll never understand it. Just my 2 cents. That's it.
Interesting.
Some deep words from Maximilian Chen, professional fighter.
Yeah, well,
You know, I got a kid that got into a little altercation that I trained. He got in an altercation last week. Some guy spit at him just because this guy was laying across the subway seats. And then the guy started talking shit to him. He didn't say anything, he just looked back at him. And then the guy spit at him. The guy got up like he was going to do something. So the kid front kicked him in the chest and sat him back down on the seat. And he jumped up again to do something. And then he kneed him in the chin and knocked him out. Now, I don't know if that's going to make him a better person. But at the very least, he's going to think twice before he does that again. Since he got his lights put out. You know what I mean? So
Here's a concept that I learned.
I got to say something to that because one, 2 things. One, that's part of the reason I don't hang out with Max Chen on a regular basis. All the time, there's always, whether it's Max himself or somebody else in his crew, they're getting into fights. And I love Max. He's one of my favorite people on the entire planet. I just can't hang out with him at nighttime because something happens. So that's one thing. But the second thing is Max, I understand what you're saying. And what I meant by, and just to kind of clarify, because I think that what I was saying fits totally into what you just said. You were just saying that someone, let's say, spit on your buddy, which is an act of violence because he has violated your friend's rights. So by nature of your friend responding to him to quell that, to stop that, that is not violence. From my opinion, that is not violence. That is actually compassion from the Buddhist perspective. Compassion means doing the right thing without thinking. So if someone is being violent and you immediately quell that violence, however you can, ideally, in the safest, most loving way possible, that is not violence in my opinion. So from that perspective, someone else on the outside might say, oh, they're both being violent and sometimes that violence is necessary. But I think that as we refine, which we all need to as a culture, refine our definitions of everything, whether it's masculinity and femininity or the concept of violence, etc. When we start to refine that, I'm like, hey, that guy spit on this other dude. That's an act of violence. This other guy put him to sleep. That was apparently the necessary thing to do because the guy was going to escalate the violence, and instead he put the guy to sleep. Which hopefully he learns a lesson.
Like he needs to have that understanding. I have a slightly different view on what you're saying. For me, I just think you're giving them an understanding of consequences and violence. That's all. Because he needs to understand that if you go around doing something like that, eventually something bad's going to happen to you. And if nothing ever happens to him, he just won't know that, and he'll just keep going around trying to bully people all over the place. You know what I mean?
Max Chen is a real life superhero without the title of real life superhero.
There's something I learned, a concept, this very, very fundamental concept. Don't start a war that you cannot finish, that you don't know if you never win the battle at all. Before you even go into battle, you must be sure you know if you can win the battle. If you don't know how to win the battle, how are you supposed to win the war?
I want to add one thing to that, Pierre, that we posted last week on the Justifier IG, is that in every war, at the end, you end up living with the other side. And that's a quote from a British veteran that we just saw. I actually got to get his name and add it to the post, but I love that idea of no matter whom you go to war with, you're going to end up living together, and you have to figure out how to live together with respect after the fact. So if we know that that is the consequence, then how do we, if that is the outcome, how can we perform right now with that understanding? And if we lead with that respect, it'll likely actually change a lot of things. But okay, this is taking another direction, but I'm so grateful that this is the type of conversations that we have as a community, and even at the end of an acting workshop where we're being given wonderful tools. And Avél, is there anything that you think that we should be training? Like, I know you've given a lot of tools, or is there anything that you recommend as a synopsis of what we did today that we should be doing on a regular basis to help bring our characters more to life?
Write free what do they call it? Free form writing, disassociative writing, where you just stream of consciousness. That was one exercise I used to do in one of my classes in the Carol Fox Press. Just write, and see what comes out of that. That can be something really helpful. You know, get in touch with yourself. Like, just move, get in touch with your body, get in touch with, you know, feelings, the I feel, the writing, you know, it's always going to be kind of a work in progress, you know, and there might be rough drafts and scratch things out. And I don't know, I feel like the freer we feel here by working through stuff that doesn't even seem like it feels like it's acting, because acting is just being, it's just being you, it's being here, it's being authentic, you know what I mean? It's so get here, get this out, be in touch with what's happening, and then the ideas are going to flow, you know, things are going to flow. And yeah, and I'm excited for everyone, you know, feel free if anybody, you know, works on stuff and they want to share, like, you know, I'm happy to, you can find me on Instagram. I'm happy to, you know, to just be a sounding board. I don't intend to give, you know, a lot of critique or judgment or that, you know, just maybe you want to bounce some ideas off somebody and say, hey, how does this sound? I mean, you know, just to be a community together, I think. Yeah. And we'll see where we go from here. You know, I had wanted to work on some monologue stuff, some sharing, and maybe we can do that in another one. And yeah.
Thank you, Avél, and thank you everybody for joining. You know, we're so grateful for each and every one of you, and please continue to spread the word about what we're doing with JFH. You know, this is we're playing a long game here. And just like I said, our vision for this is very similar to the WWE in the sense that this is a story that'll go on for decades. But at the core, it's all about, you know, fictionalizing solutions to real world problems through cinema, but also having that motivation to actually do things in the real world and make it a better place. And so if we're using our entertainment to actually inform us, which we already do, we actually already use our entertainment to inform us about the real world, but we don't use it consciously. So if we start using it consciously to inform us, then we're actually going to start taking conscious action to make the world a better place, rather than having unconscious biases that our entertainment actually informs us on right now. So if we change the way our intention, everything else is going to shift from there. And I think that's what we're doing with JFH, and Code Gray is an example of that. You know, and I think everybody who's stepping up, creating content is an example of that. So just thank you, everybody. Thank you, Max, for we got Mickey here from Legendary Ciphers. He joined us.
Jan, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this, because I really, in terms of the character, one thing that's really helpful, and it reminded me of like Sean, I don't know if anyone's ever seen Milk, about Harvey Milk. Sean Penn, he talked about how he got into character and how he would get into his characters. And he either studied the intricacies of a person's life if they were a real person. So like with Harvey Milk, he learned everything he could learn about who Harvey Milk was, like what kind of cereal he ate, like, you know, things like that. Like he tried to get as much detail. And then when he was working on a character that was fictional, so like what JFH heroes are doing, they're creating a fictional character, create a backstory. That's really, really helpful. Create a backstory. Where did that person grow up? What was the relationship like with their parents? Are they an only child? Like, and so when I had asked people to bring a shared monologue of an important and impactful moment in their character's life, that's about being introspective. So first we get into ourselves as ourselves, being introspective and connected. And now when you move into character mode, how do I become, how do I become introspective into my character's world? What do they, what's the routine? Like, do they wake up, brush your teeth, drink coffee, do it, drop a deuce? Like what happens? Like, what is the whole thing, And so, and that, if you can really like live in it, and then you're going to maybe feel that there's a little bit of like life imitating art, art imitating life. And it's like, what am I experiencing? Am I experiencing the feelings of my character? Or am I experiencing the feelings that are me, And then sometimes there can be a little bit of this like mixing and wave of those things. And that's okay to understand, but know that sometimes if you're feeling something that's maybe doesn't feel like you, it could be because you're working very deeply on a character, and that's how things kind of ebb and flow. But getting into the backstory of your character, where they came from, that can be really helpful to developing to move forward. So I had wanted to share that before and I forgot. So thank you for bearing with me.
Oh, Avél, I'm going to use that. I'm going to cut that exactly out of this, and we're going to turn that into a challenge. So thank you. That was awesome.
Oh, you're welcome.
I was just like, please no, I had to mute Max Chen so that he didn't drop his phone or stick it in a bowl of cereal again.
Awesome.
Something to share that might be beneficial. If anyone is wanting to learn how to create 2 different characters or 3 different characters, I'd be willing to actually teach you how to do that. I have great expertise in creating different characters, different ideas, because I have a fundamental step that shows you how to do it easily. If you want to learn how to do that, I'm sure Jan would love to have a workshop me doing that with you. And that would be the beneficial help you might get with creating individual characters as in the whole universe.
Thank you, Pierre, aka Captain Darkness, aka Deathhawk, and he has multiple. Yeah, I think he had 3 characters in JFH right now, so that's awesome that he plays himself. And Andre, you had one more thing to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, inspired by Max and Ben, it was so important what you said, and I just wanted to like acknowledge that in the JFH universe, I think, and for growing our community, it's not about staying, like Max said, you need violence. I translate it into like, we all are a sum of everything that happened, our traumas, our events that brought us to be here today and now. It's that moment when you acknowledge, you own what happened, but you decide to do something with it, something that you do for a community, for someone else. And it's like, I think the moment you identify that and you catch like, yeah, that's the moment. And Ben said it so beautifully, being a survivor and taking all that and putting it into a character, into a universe. And that's how you also change that. You transform it into joy, all that violence from Hollywood and everything that there is, and it brings you down, that darkness. If you identify those moments, you then transform it into the joy of surviving, into the joy of transformation, into the joy of being a hero, because the notion of hero got so diluted. But for now, from what I feel, and I'll talk for myself, I don't want to talk for anyone else, but it's nowadays being a hero and in JFH universe is show up with how you are and who you are. It's not being something else. Of course, you can be something else, and that's the in character. But I think and that's why you need those moments, like Max said, like the violence moments or the traumas. It's not like you need them, but you wouldn't be the character that you are today if those things wouldn't have happened to you. So I just want to acknowledge that. And it was the connection between what Ben said and Max. So thank you.
That pressure that creates a diamond that transmutes us from survivor to thriver.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
And we'll put this online within the coming days so that people can see it as well, and we can share it. And we'll all share it into the cast chat. And like I said, let's please spread the word on JFH with your communities and build our community. So I love you all and thank you all so much, and have an amazing weekend. Thank you again, Avél, for this amazing class.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye, everybody.
See you
Bye,
next
everybody.
time.
Thank you, Avél.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.